former Dutch senator who opposed Russian sanctions kept contact with Russian spies for a decade.
Here's a summary of the article.
René van der Linden sat in the Tweede Kamer for nearly 20 years, served as the State Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and was a senator for 16 years, including from 2009 to 2011 when he was the Senate chair. The CDA politician was also the president of the Council of Europe's Parliamentary Assembly from 2005 to 2008 while he was a senator, and began keeping contact with Valery Levitsky, an accused Russian spy who was expelled from France in April 2018 for ties to the Russian security service GRU. Levitsky also opened communication between van der Linden and two Russian politicians, Leonid Slutsky, the head of Russian Nationalist Party (LDPR), and Konstantin Kosachev, a senator from Putin's United Russia Party who now chairs the Federation Council's Foreign Affairs Committee. Even after Levitsky was forced out of France, van der Linden maintained contact with him for another 15 months. During the decade that they maintained dialogue, van der Linden raised red flags with the AIVD and Dutch politicians alike. In documents previously released in September, Levitsky asserted to Moscow that he was able to hold sway over van der Linden and SP politician Tiny Cox, the latter being the current president of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. Despite leaving the Senate in 2015, van der Linden continued to attend meetings and conferences in Moscow for years. Van der Linden admitted that in the past he was in contact with Slutsky and Kosachev, at most once or twice a year, in discussions that were organized by Levitsky.
This post received a score of 6,400, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Now look into orb. N.
Surprise. There is literally no reason you shouldn't be completely against Putin and his regime at this point. If you are opposed to any strong actions against them, you're either secretly being paid by the KGB or you secretly sympathize with fascism. This is not the same as Bush's, you're either with us or you are with the terrorist. Russia invaded a sovereign Ukraine and Ukraine is defending themselves.
This is actually an easy way to pick up the moles in our midst. I hope someone is compiling a nice list.
Okay, so when Republicans in the US are opposed to sanctions or anything against them, we should consider them for an interview. So all those Republicans that went to Russia on the 4th of July need to be at the top of a list somewhere.
They literally spent the holiday celebrating our country's independence from foreign powers in the home of our enemy and no one batted an eye.
These Republicans need to be looked at with the same scrutiny as Robert Hansen. Being a senator doesn't make you above the law.
And surprise, it's not Thierry who was caught. Not yet at least.
There is simply no chance on earth that he is not on their payroll. Pro-Russia and refuses to report his income.
Not to be juvenile, but the real story here is that there is a successful Dutch politician named Tiny Cox.
Top 10 surprises nobody expected.
Tiny Cox. What a name.
Tiny Cox in the Slutsky.
It's chilling how many mainstream politicians, not far left or far right, were embroiled with the Russian mafia as well.
Zero tolerance, espionage, execution. Governments have become too complacent with Russia and Russian appeasement.
Americans when they hear anything about another country. Yes, but have you heard about our problems?
Keep in mind they are the average Redditor, not the average American. It isn't normal and it is pretty cringe.
Our own Moscow Mitch.
The Moscow Mitch that has been in support of every set of sanctions against Russia and every Ukraine spending package. If he's a Russian asset, then they seriously need to request a refund.
Moscow Mitch was a dumb label and undermines holding the compromised politicians from both parties to account.
Life in prison.
Hang him by the balls. Russian invasion and the following atrocities and war crimes it committed is honestly such a black and white moral issue that anyone who is pro-Putin is either doing it to get attention, getting paid, or just a sociopath that thinks fascism is great. Far right and far left crowds.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.